The following is an encore presentation of stories from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. And we're talking to Michael, but he prefers Batty, from the Dooralong Transformation Centre. We said briefly hello to you before the 10 o'clock news, so hello again, Batty.
Yeah, g'day, mate.
Yeah. Okay, you've been at Dooralong, you were telling us, since January, and things are going so good that you graduate very soon.
Yeah, things are going excellent.
So you can now look back on the whole of your Dooralong experience and speak as somebody who's probably experienced the highs and lows of life at Dooralong.
Definitely.
Yeah. You told us you were from, was it Forbes or Parks? Parks,
yeah. Not Forbes.
Oh, there's rivalry, is there?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Oh, two nice little country towns, rivalry?
Yeah.
There's always a bit of friendly rivalry. I suppose the local soccer teams or the footy teams, they have
the footy teams, yeah.
Yeah.
Magpies and the Spacemen.
Oh, right. So we've touched on our early raw nerve here for Paddy. So, but that's where you were brought up. You were brought up in Parks. Is that when your addiction sort of came into your life, when you were growing up there?
late high school is when I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. Along with other kids at school, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. And how was it different for you? Because I'm guessing not everybody ended up at a place like Dooralong.
No, I don't know if it was different about me, but I didn't really have anything traumatic or like that happen to me when I was younger. I sort of just experimented and enjoyed the feeling that I got from drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. So it wasn't a case like we've talked to other guys that they were trying to blot stuff out and sort of, it was a coping mechanism. Things were okay for you at home.
Yeah. I had a great childhood. All my schooling was good. I was a good student. I just went wayward, I guess.
Yeah, you got to this age when you experiment with things, and you're one of those unfortunate people that perhaps have an addictive personality, but it really got you by the sense of it.
Yeah, I come from a family of addicts. So addiction, I'm not sure if it's genetic or not, but some people say it is, and if it is, then I had the genetic addiction.
Yeah. And was this alcohol or drugs?
Yeah,
or both?
Alcohol, gambling, not so much drugs, but yeah, the alcohol and the gambling's in the family.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So if it is a wayward gene, it certainly found its way to you.
Yeah, it found me.
Yeah. What did it do to your life? You say you were a good student. Did it affect your studies in any way?
No, I don't think it did. I think it more affected me after when I started working and things like that. I'd sort of only hold a job down for 1 or 2 years. And then my mum used to say I got itchy feet, but I think I just lost the motivation or whatever to keep working, and I'd go for another job, and I'd get that new feeling. And start off good, and drugs and alcohol would soon put an end to that.
So every good break in life that came along, later on it was sort of taken away from you by the drugs and alcohol?
Yeah, I'd definitely done it to myself, yeah.
Yeah. And was that the same with relationships?
Yeah, I've been married, and my addiction definitely ended that. My life was totally unmanageable, uncontrollable. I thought I was in the box seat owning a business and having a wife and a son, and 23 hours and 59 minutes of my day was spent worrying about drugs or alcohol or not being sober or straight. And then I didn't have time or anything for anybody else, especially those closest to me.
So you've got loved ones at home, you've got a wife who cares for you, a son who loves you, but...
I did have a wife.
Yeah. But at that time, you were more focused on the drugs and the alcohol.
Yeah, and I couldn't see that I was hurting everybody else, because I wasn't physically hurting anyone. I didn't think I was hurting anyone.
Yeah.
But after, I realised that I did have a problem. I could see the emotional and mental anguish and stress that I'd put onto my wife and my family.
Did you try, I know you've been at Dooralong, but did you try rehabs further back?
I have. My first rehab I went into, I was 21, so that was about 21 years ago. And they were short term, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, which I know now isn't anywhere near long enough. That was just a bit of time to be straight, and put a bit more weight back on and stuff like that. But it didn't do anything as far as your mental state or dealing with emotions or things like that. Yeah.
So they were just interludes during the
addiction. Just a break.
Just a break.
Yeah, that's all they were.
So life continued with the drugs, the alcohol, and the selfishness, I suppose, that you've described.
Yeah, exactly.
Until when? Until what happened?
10 years ago, 2008, I went to a rehab in the Gold Coast, Fairhaven, which is run by the Salvation Army, and I was brought up Catholic, so I always believed in God and Jesus, but I had a fear of God. I didn't have the love. So when I went to Fairhaven and got in touch with the Salvation Army, that all changed. Christianity, I started practicing, and just the positive feeling and all that I got from it, changed my life. I was clean for 18 months or so when I left Fairhaven, and I went back to my hometown for a late Christmas. I went back to Parkside, still up the Gold Coast. My mum and sister and brother are there, so I went back in the January for a late Christmas, and I ended up meeting my wife, or who became my wife. Ran into old friends that I grew up with. And before I knew it, I was drinking and drugging again.
But you say you had a fear of God. What was that about?
I was taught by nuns and brothers. I'm not putting them down, but if you've done something wrong, you're going to hell. If you looked at someone the wrong way, you're going to hell. So I had a fear of God. I felt like I was walking around on eggshells, so I didn't go to hell. But so I know that's not true today.
The grace and the forgiveness wasn't there.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. But it awakened within you something. It triggered something for you when you were at the Gold Coast at that Fairhaven.
Yeah. When I went back into addiction, and I got to the point where I was going to open my shop in the mornings, and I'd go past the bottle-o on the way. I needed opiates to function. I couldn't work on my ADD, so your downers, which your opiates, heroin, things like that, brought me up, whereas ice and speed and all that brought me down. So I didn't like the uppers, the speed and stuff. I was more for the opiates because they give me energy. And if I couldn't get my drug of choice, I'd go to the chemist and get Nurofen Plus and swallow a box of that. 30 tablets straight all at once.
Yeah.
So I knew I had a problem, and when my marriage was ending at the same time, so I knew I needed help. I needed a long-term rehab. So I jumped online and searched for Christian rehabs because I knew I needed Jesus as a part of my recovery. And I went for the Salvation Army, and I found Dooralong on the net, and that's how I ended up there.
So it was that earlier connection with the Salvos at Fairhaven up on the Gold Coast that prompted you to say, Salvos.
Definitely, yeah. I knew I wanted the Salvos.
Yeah.
100%, yep.
And that would have been last year, would it, sometime?
Yeah, that was December, just before Christmas. I was staying with my mother because my marriage had ended, so I didn't really have anywhere to stay. went and stayed with my mother, and then the 2nd of January, I got a phone call from Dooralong saying they had a bed for me on the 26th of January, so it was a good New Year present.
Sounds like a bit of a turning point for you.
Yeah, yep.
Making a difference on the Central Coast. Rima 94.9.
And making a difference in Batty's life is the Dooralong Transformation Centre. Well, we were talking to Batty before that music break, and he was telling us how he discovered Dooralong Transformation Centre. In fact, he sought them out. Had such a good experience with Salvos when he was on the Gold Coast that when he realised he needed long-term therapy, long-term counselling, he searched for a Christian rehab centre. And once he saw the Salvo's name, that was it. He booked himself a place. And you went there in January of this year?
Yeah, January this year.
Yeah. Was it everything you expected it to be?
No, it was a lot more, I think, than what I expected. Yeah, I did not expect what I got.
Yeah, so what were the extra bits? What surprised you about Dooralong then?
It said, this might sound funny or whatever, but it said it was a 5-star, used to be a 5-star resort, and when I got there,
that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, when I got there, it was and is.
Yeah, I suppose if you don't know the place and you just say it's a rehab centre and they say it's a 5-star resort.
You think of hospital style thing, like institution sort of a looking thing, but yeah, it's totally not.
No, you imagine sort of white corridors and white rooms and sort
vinyl
of
floors everywhere. Yeah,
it's not like that.
White uniforms.
It is really a resort, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably the first thing you see is you go in, there's a swimming pool.
Yeah, it is, and it's not any old swimming pool.
No,
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and you're in the beautiful God's own country out there.
Oh, definitely, it is absolutely pristine out there.
Yeah. Sometimes the guys say that the first week or so is really difficult. That's when they're tempted to just walk out of the gate. Did you have any of those temptations?
Yeah, I think it. For myself, it lasted longer than a week. I think they've got it right with the 3 weeks in induction, because I think it takes that long to decide if you do want to stay or not, and it gives you a good amount of time to think about it instead of jumping at the first thought you get. A week after you've been there that you want to leave and you go. Yeah. The thing is, there's so many people out there you can talk to, and it doesn't have to be staff. You can talk to other participants that have been there for a little while, and sometimes it's easier to talk to them because they give you the perspective from another addict. Not saying the staff don't know, because a lot of them are ex-addicts as well. But yeah, sometimes you just feel more comfortable talking to a mate.
Yeah, and those first few weeks, I guess, you've just come out of sort of
you're
rehab,
fresh.
So your body is still craving the substance, whether it's drugs or alcohol. So it must be a tough time as your body readjusts to some sort of normality.
Yeah, that's right, because you've just come out of detox, which isn't a long-term thing. You've only been there from 5 to 10 days.
Yeah.
But what helps is the food. Even the food out there, getting yourself healthy physically helps to get you well mentally.
Yeah.
So if you come in like I did, and I wasn't eating properly on the outside, certain things I was doing was unhealthy for me, and I come in and I'm eating breakfast, lunch, and tea again. And this is 3 days after I got there, and it was because everybody else was doing it. I thought I'll give this a go, and next thing, a lot of things happen in that first week, spiritually and mentally.
Yeah.
That set you up for your stay.
So you looked after your mind with all the counsellors and the therapists there, your body with the 3 meals a day and being out in the sort of good fresh air.
Yeah.
What about the spirit? Because I know that you specifically sought out a Christian rehab.
Yeah, I needed that peace and grace, as you said before. I love worship. Worship's my favourite part of chapel or church. I'm a musician, so I love my music, and knowing that we had to go to chapel on a Wednesday night and we had to go to church on a Sunday, it didn't seem like a chore to me. I sort of got excited. Yeah, that's what I want to do. That's what I need as a part of my recovery.
Yeah. I guess you're I won't say you're a little unusual, buddy, but it's a lot of the guys that we speak to, it was their first encounter with Christianity, and it took them a little while to sort of form an opinion of it. But for you, it was something you were specifically seeking. It was like there was a thirst in you, and you knew what that thirst could be sort of satisfied with, which was the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. I've always felt like I was looking for something, and I didn't know what it was. I've always had this feeling that I was going to be famous or I was going to be a celebrity, but I think now, I think that what I was looking for was Jesus, because I love the comfort in that, and I am famous. I'm a celebrity in God's eyes.
Oh, you're a celebrity, yeah.
So, yeah, what I've been looking for all these years I've found, I think.
Yeah.
I know.
Here's an awkward question for you. This is where everyone out at Dooralong should turn their radios down and not listen to this next little bit. We've said how great Dooralong is and how fantastic it is and how it's fed your spirit, which is, remarkable. But it can't be all ups. There must be some downs as well. What are the down times that you experience at Dooralong?
Some down times for me is when, as you progress in the program, you don't have so many structured things to do, so you do have a bit of downtime where you're on your own, and that can be good, but if you have too much time, I don't think it is good. And I think they do that so they're not organising your life like the military or something like that. You've got to take initiative and sort of structure your own day, whether it be a walk or the gym or a bit of writing or reading or something, than just sitting on a lounge in front of the TV.
Because that's once you leave Dooralong, that could be a sort of very risky time for you. Just sat there bored watching TV, you'd be thinking, I might as well just go down the pub or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
So they teach you that structure is important.
Yeah, definitely structure is very important. Another downside is you're in a community with 139 other people that are all in there for the same reason as you, but you're not always going to get along with everyone. There's different characters, different personalities, but outside of the Dooralong gate, we're going to have to live with people like that in everyday life. So as much as it is a down point for me, I can only speak for myself, it's teaching me how to deal with those people or how not to deal with those people.
It's a valuable lesson in life.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yep.
You were talking there about music and how important it is to you. I believe you're also on the worship team down there at Dooralong.
Yeah, I play guitar and sing in the worship team, which I love, absolutely love. That's been a big part of my program. I've always played music. I've owned a music shop. So, yeah, music's always been a big part of my life, and knowing that I could continue that at Dooralong and not just sit in my cabin and play to myself, that I can play my guitar and sing in front of 140 plus people, really brought joy to me. I could say, it was very exciting, which I hope to continue. When I leave Dooralong, I'll still be going to chapel on Wednesday nights and hope to continue in the worship band there.
Yeah.
And when I head to my new church on the Sundays, I'm hoping to join the worship team there as well.
Yeah, you've got a new church arranged, have you?
Hope UC in West Gosford is where I'll be heading.
Well, Darlene Check is the pastor there at Charm Haven. She is a sort of international singing star, so I mean, talk about finding a church that has a sort of strong music sort of ministry. I think you found it. Yeah. Well, that sounds exciting. And we're talking to Batty this morning from Dooralong Transformation Centre. He's graduating very soon. He says it's an apprehensive time for him, but also exciting. What's exciting about it for you?
It's the beginning of a new life, or the start of living clean and drug-free and clear-headed.
Yeah. and you're doing a really sensible thing. Well, I think anyway, you're going to this sort of halfway house at Dooralong House so that you do have that supported environment for a few months.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to Erina House, which is an extended care part of the program. I'm all for it. You're still held accountable.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you still get tested for drugs and alcohol. You got requirements that you have to do. So you're not going out there renting a house and sitting in there doing nothing all day, and just going back to where you were before. So I think it's good because you learn certain things out of Dooralong, and then you go to the extended care and you learn to live outside of Dooralong.
Yeah, learn to put those things into practice in your own life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And as far as the job is concerned, you're a muso. Have you got any thoughts in that direction?
I haven't so far. I'm a greenkeeper by trade. Okay. And I've worked on the railways for a lot of years, so I'm sort of looking in those directions. Any jobs that I had as far as music, besides owning the music shop, was doing gigs, and most gigs are done in pubs and clubs, and I sort of want to steer clear of them for a little while.
I think that's very wise. It's like chefs, and the chefing industry seems to be prone to sort of, people with sort of alcoholic sort of
we
issues.
have a few chefs out there actually.
Yeah, and again, I think it's probably the music, and it's probably because they are surrounded by that temptation so much in
exactly
that
right.
life. Yeah. So you have an opinion then on vinyl and digital, being a muso? And
a
music
yeah,
shop?
vinyl all the way.
All the way?
Analog, yep.
Yeah. What's so good about it?
To me, it's a real sound. Digital, you seem to be able to chop and change and do it to suit you, where as the old vinyls, you're actually listening to the music. You're not listening to something that was digitally enhanced.
You're listening to the original sound.
The original
raw
sound.
sound.
Yep.
Yeah.
Raw, that's the word I was looking for, the raw sound,
Yeah. Look, you probably noticed in the studio there is no turntable, there's no deck.
No.
No, sorry about that. Everything
There's
here
not
is
even
on
a CD player. Oh, yeah, there is
we
one
got a
over
cassette
there, yeah.
player. Yeah, we got a cassette player. So, yes, but no, all MP3s, I'm afraid, buddy. So, and once you leave and you go to our own house, you're still going back to help out the worship at chapel night?
Yeah, I'll be out there on Wednesdays helping out, as far as worship goes. I'm also going to volunteer out there 1 or 2 days a week, help out with the driving and stuff like that, just to give back to the community, but to also keep myself busy so I haven't got too much time in my own head.
Yeah. And finally, Batty, how are things between you and God now? At one time you were afraid of him. You feared that he didn't like you, or he was going to judge you, or he had a down on you. What's that relationship like now?
I have an awesome relationship with God and Jesus. I now recognise today that I'm a child of God. I'm made in His image. And basically I'm perfect just the way I am. I don't have to try and change things for anybody, because I'm happy with who I am today. I go to home church at Bonnells Bay on Monday nights. And that's helped me to explore my faith a lot more as well.
Yeah, it's a bit of a turnaround, isn't it, from being frightened of God to actively thinking.
Yeah, and it feels so much better.
It feels a lot nicer.
Yeah.
It sure does, doesn't it? Okay, thanks so much for coming in, Paddy.
My pleasure.
Telling us your story. We just pray God's blessing upon you, especially as you enter this new phase in your life, that He'll continue to have His hand on your shoulder and steer you along the right paths.
Thanks, mate.
You've been listening to an encore presentation of the Dooralong stories, which can be heard live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. and repeated 8 p.m. Sunday and 1 a.m. Wednesday, right here on 94.9 Rima.cc.